Sorry for being late.
No worries, man. It's
I
it's early.
apologize.
It's early here. I got myself some tea in my weaning to poo cup, and I'm good to go, dude. So the last time you and I spoke, it's been a while. Let's see if I can refresh your memory a little bit. It was the Northern Invasion tour, and I brought with me a Swedish tongue twister that you read. I don't know if you can
Hmm.
remember that because obviously you do a lot of interviews, but you nailed it. So that's something tells me you're going to do fantastic in this little quick interview here, man. How you been?
I've been really good, actually. I am, yeah, very. Obviously, I mean, most of this year has been working in the studio with a record that we're not talking about,
Mm-hmm.
but with the year before, which forced most people to stay domestic, was actually a quite nice recuperation for me. Been on tour for pretty much a decade, just being home and just being with my family and all that, which I feel very invigorated
Yeah, I
by.
can imagine that'll just reinvigorate the soul and spirit. Just being around the family and the kids and stuff. That's got to be great for your mind and just to relax. Because, like you said, being on tour constantly.
Yes, which is great. It's fun as hell, and I miss that as well. But sometimes you need to go back to harbor and just remember why you're out there pirateering.
Absolutely. So let's talk about this fantastic new single from Ghost, Hunter's Moon. Tell me about the track and the idea, like the beginning, the idea of how this came together for you and for the new film Halloween Kills, which is coming out here in another week or so. I want to say it drops on the 15th of October. It'll be on Peacock and in theaters at the same time. And I know the song's going to be prominent in the film.
Yeah, it started as with most things. For me, at least, it's you have like a little bit of like a strike of lightning, where you see a title or you see something that sort of caught your eye, and you write it down on a note. And as far as I remember, what I was doing was I was looking up Harvest Moon, the Neil Young track,
Sure.
and just like exactly what does Harvest Moon mean. And then I rex like next to it in the context, whatever that was. I saw Hunter's Moon, and it was like, that is a very good title.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna write that down next to everything else that I write down, and it probably stay there for some time. And then fast forward a little, I went to dinner with a friend of mine. His name is Ryan Turek. He is a producer for Blumhouse, and he works obviously with all kinds of pictures. But
I
one
believe
of
like
his
Get Out, isn't Get Out, The Purge, and Us. I think those are a couple of films that he's
yes,
worked on. Yeah,
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, yeah. So they've done. So there's plenty to talk about. And we were both very obviously. He's also very interested in cinema, obviously.
Sure.
And he was just saying that, like, how would you like to write at some point music for film? Yeah, I mean, what do you mean, like scoring? No, I mean that too, if you want to, but whatever you wanna, if you want to try something, and maybe it's like snippets of music for something, or maybe it's like a song. Maybe I mean, if you want to, we can do like a ghost song as well. Kind of like just a ghost track, especially written for a movie, and it quickly sort of dawned on me, like, I have a song, and it just sort of simultaneously in the
Sure.
back of my head, I remember Hunter's Moon. Like, that's a really cool title, and quickly sort of scrolling through my memory in the back of my head. Meanwhile, sort of gibberishingly talking to him, I was just like, "Isn't that Hunter's Moon? That was around October, I believe." And then I'm just like, "I have a song that would be perfect for Halloween. It's called Hunter's Moon."
Perfect.
And he was like, "Okay, great, yeah, let's
That
get
was
to it."
it.
That was it, and then I had to write a song. But
Sure.
the fun thing for me, sometimes conceptually coming up with something means that I need to know what's the purpose for it.
Yeah, context.
Yeah, the context for me is key. Once I lose concept of something in context, I tend to, so many songs that I'm just thrown out the window just because they didn't fit, or it all of a sudden I didn't remember why I wrote it. And here, Hunter's Moon was just a title first. That sounded cool, but once we were done with that dinner and it had a purpose, it sort of fit so well, and it just grew from there.
I can definitely hear the evolution of Ghost in this song, Hunter's Moon. It sounds like a perfect step in the next direction, I guess, of Ghost is what I'm hearing. And I know it's your first song in what, 2 years now. How does that feel to be releasing music after a couple of years off, and here's my first little child out into the world? What's that feel like for you?
Now when it's done, it feels really good.
Sure.
I've had to counterintuitively, during last 18 months, there have been moments where let's just put it this way. I'm not very social media savvy. I don't do that personally.
Sure.
Whereas obviously the music industry and the music industry media forum has been drenched, completely swamped with artists that have been crampingly just held on to their media outlet, and just with updates all constantly, comments, diaries, and sessions and all kinds of stuff. And
just
some
to
of
stay
them have
relevant,
made perfect,
right? Is that what you're saying? Like, just to stay relevant, that's why those artists are doing that kind of stuff, and that's
look, and this is where the counterintuitive element comes in. I understand why you do that.
Yeah.
Because if you are used to the sort of attention that you get when you are out touring, or when you have things out and all that, it's kind of hard to get the feeling that you're losing that. So I don't understand. I do not understand why they do that. But I was watching this throughout the year, and I felt that I definitely don't want to do any of that. I mean, one way, I mean, I'm not on social media anyway, so I'm not going to change that. But as the year progressed, there was definitely weak moments when I'm like, wow, we haven't done shit in such a long time.
Right.
And then there were the sort of additional sort of bonus things, where sometimes things that I had done maybe a half a year before the lockdown, and the lockdown sort of simultaneously that sort of coincided when our tour ending.
Yes.
So it felt like the tour ended and then COVID came.
Wow.
So things that I had done before that sort of came out during the year, and because of the natural sort of process of that had its own life. And I became a little bit too conscious, I think, because it was like, no, I don't want this to be the thing that I come out saying after 6 months of saying nothing.
Sure.
And
No, I get what you're saying.
on the other, and on the other hand, we have merchandise company that sort of comes out with merchandise, and I'm like, fuck, we can't just tell people to buy shit. and it's like, so you get conscious about like what you're putting out there, and I'm like, let's hold our fucking, sorry, I meant,
no worries.
I didn't spell it like that. It was FPHAQ. That was what I said.
Okay. No worries.
Yeah, so it was like, let's really stick to our guns here and try to formulate whatever comes out next. Whatever we do needs to be very good and purposeful. If we kept all these people waiting, we need to be able to sort of say something great. And what that great was, that was traumatic for my soul sometimes. But now when it's out there and it's done, it feels really good.
Yeah, so
now I know that we're sort of back.
Yeah, absolutely. Enters the Hunter's Moon, and now the song's out there. And I watched the music video. I've watched it probably, like 100 times. So over the million views that you have on that video already, just know that 100 are mine. It's fantastic. It's great. Tell me about the concept, the treatment, putting that together for the video.
Um,
I know Amanda. Is it
yeah,
Amanda Demi? Is that how it was more? Am I saying her name correctly?
Amanda Demi. Yeah, she's a very talented. She comes from a very creative background where her husband, fortunately, is late. Was also a director, and his brother, directed Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, wow. Yes, yes,
Um,
of course. Okay, got
so,
it.
so she comes from a directing and photographic background, but also as the head of, she created her own label, which was Immortal Records. Who they signed? Oh my God, I hope I don't get this wrong. I think they signed Korn, but also like House of Pain. Uh,
Wow.
and Cypress Hill, like too. I mean, I'm not like I'm not super into all hip hop, but
Sure.
within my hip hop sort of section in my own record collection, those are two bands that I really like.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they that was a really cool. But she comes from like she's very sort of gothic and very dark minded person, which is fit really well. It was a little bit of a challenge to she just happened to be in Europe where she's normally based in LA.
Okay.
She was in Europe, and we just a month or month and a half back, Europe, and still to a degree now, but even Sweden was we had there was a lot of trouble traveling. So I think that she had to take a little bit of cultural pounding, coming as an American director into Sweden and make the video here. And it was definitely not on a shoestring budget, but definitely you had to be mindful of what we did. And another aspect of the sort of entertainment business that people don't see is that one thing that is really, really active now and has been for some time is film and TV production. So as soon as you've got to do anything that involves renting a camera or anything like that, it's like, no, it's all rented out. Everything is out. Everything is gone. So what you have to do is sort of pick people out of other productions, and you get people just in for like one day.
Okay.
So you have to sort of do everything in very uncomfortable hours. But it's, it served the purpose really well here because we were, what do you say? Like we found a really great location, which had all the various environments. It had a great exterior, a great interior, and it was like an old sort of semi-abandoned house. So you could do a lot of that stuff in there. Originally, my idea was to sort of build a room within the studio and a soundstage. And that was just like, no. That costs 10 times more.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that was it was cool.
Yeah,
it turned out really great.
Yeah, it turned out really well, and I love seeing Papa there at the end. Kind of has that mirrored vibe of like seeing Michael Myers and stuff in the mask, and it's great. I mean, like I said, it's a fantastic evolution for the band Ghost. In general, the song is fantastic. Now, I don't get to speak to you obviously very often, so something that's gone through my mind with Ghost, with going back to even prequel, the anthem vibe that you have, like from the bands from the 80s, thinking about Ozzy Osbourne and the Ultimate Sin record, which I love that album and all the songs on that record. I remember listening to Prequel for the first time thinking, man, there's such a throwback energy vibe here to that of the 80s anthems. Now with Hunter's Moon, and you're thinking about the next evolution of Ghost, are you kind of keeping that in mind? You want that anthem kind of feel, that I don't know, like that, you can open with any one of your new songs when you get on tour and people are just like into it right away at the show because it's got that anthem vibe to it. Is that possibly in the back of your mind when you're writing these tunes?
Yes. Yeah, of course. You write so the same way that you'd write jokes that you hope people will laugh at.
Sure.
Of course, you write new songs that you think people will like. but that doesn't mean, you know, you go against your own uh, intuition and write shit that you don't want to play.
Absolutely.
I am a sucker for even when I'm talking about like extreme metal music or things that aren't necessarily commercial. You know, even if we were talking about death metal bands, a lot of the records and a lot of the songs that I would like classify as like these are the most pivotal, most inspirational, the best ones made. A lot of that is very chorus and verse, chorus, hook, hook, hook driven.
Sure.
Like Morbid Angel, Death, Possessed, Necrophagia, and all that had tons of hooks in it all the time. It was really hooky and very temperamental. And as much as I love that, I love the story of the cocky, funny nature of a lot of punk music, and the great anthemic thing of AOR. I love big muscular choruses.
Yeah.
As you might have noticed then.
Yeah, for sure.
So for me, it's just that's how I imagine songs being. Even though I can appreciate lower in tone music like Nick Drake or something, it's like my natural go-to is temperament and bombastic sort of movements. That's what I like hearing. But I mean, that could be anything from the Stranglers to Journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or, you know, so.
Well, I'm listening to this song and I'm thinking there's a little bit of ABBA meets Styx in this song plus metal. You know what I mean? With Hunter's Moon, I thought it was fantastic. You know.
Yeah, well, there you go. I mean, there you have it. ABBA is an enormous influence.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Yeah. So, I mean, I know you guys have a tour that's being, you know, it's been announced. We have a date here, February 5. You guys are playing with Volbeat at Target Center. We cannot wait to see you. So obviously those Ghost shows are, man, it's an experience that everyone needs to have in their life is going to see Ghost. So thank you so much for continuing to push the envelope. Those shows are just a joy from the first note till the end. You do it so well. You're a fantastic entertainer.
Thank you very much. I'm so much looking forward coming back to Minnesota, and I'm really happy about the tour.
Well, we cannot wait to see you. So thanks for you know, spending some time with me this morning for you in the afternoon. And Hunter's Moon, a fantastic song that we're banging on the radio station right now. We'll see you live very soon. Take care of yourself. And yeah, I cannot wait for the next album, my friend. I won't go down that street, but I cannot wait. That's all I'm saying. Thanks for your time, Tobias.
Thank you. Take care.